The New York Knicks bounced back in a huge way by defeating the Boston Celtics 111-89 yesterday afternoon in Boston. Much needed. I told you guys in my previous video discussing the Detroit Pistons and how they're smelling blood against the New York Knicks. I love the fact that the Knicks had to play another tough team in Boston following the Detroit Piston game, because if they would have played the Wizards or another one of those bottom-feeding teams like the Nets, who they just beat by 50 every time they play them, I wouldn't have seen anything that I wouldn't have been surprised by. This actually surprised me as a New York Knicks fan. But guys, before I get down into the breakdown of this Knicks-Celtics game, why it was so important that the Knicks won the way they did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video to all the Knicks fans out there, because we are heading into the All-Star break. We got an update on OG Anunoby and when he's going to be his possible return. We got updates on Deuce McBride as well. Guys, if you want all up-to-date New York Knicks stuff, hit the like button, share this, subscribe to the channel, because New York Knicks stuff is going to be hot and heavy. All-Star break coming up, and then we got about 25 games after that, and then it's postseason Knicks basketball, which is becoming a frequent thing now, which I absolutely love with the New York Knicks. So speaking of something that, if you're a Knicks fan, that we haven't seen in a very long time, I talk about sustained success with the New York Mets a lot, right? If you follow my Mets stuff. And it's something that the Mets haven't had in their entire franchise's lifetime. And the Knicks haven't had it since the 90s. What you're seeing now, okay, albeit we're not winning championships right now, you're seeing sustained success from the New York Knicks for the first time since the mid-90s, since the entire 90s. You're seeing actual sustained winning, competing on a yearly basis, knowing you're going to be a playoff team on a yearly basis. It's not something to take for granted if you're a New York Knicks fan, because you've seen the bottom of the barrel if you're a Knicks fan. And if you're my age, you've seen a lot more bottom of the barrel than you've seen success with the New York Knicks. Okay? I seen a couple of good Carmelo years. I saw the rise of the Stephon Marbury years where I thought that they were going to be amazing, and they weren't, but I was also young and confused at the time that I didn't know what basketball really looked like. But I just thought at that time you could just acquire a guy like Stephon Marbury and the team would just be amazing, right? But it's not the case. A lot more goes into it. Yeah, so we can't take advantage right now, if you're a New York Knicks fan, what we're watching. And this is why I'm so hard on these guys, man, because we didn't see sustained winning as Knicks fans for so long, dude. So long. And it's the fact that we're seeing it now, and we're seeing postseason appearances like they're normal, and we're just knowing going into each season that the Knicks are going to be a perennial, not just a playoff contender, but we're seeing them become actual championship contenders, and it's very, very satisfying as a Knicks fan to have that feeling in the back of your head. I'm just grateful for the fact that the Knicks came out yesterday against Boston and really, really responded the way that they did. I called for them to hopefully be competitive in that game. I didn't call it a must-win because it's tough to call things a must-win. I call them a must-compete, and they didn't just compete. They held Boston to a Joe Mazzulla career low for his Celtics team since he's became a coach, 89 points in yesterday afternoon's game. So it was tremendous work by that Knicks defense. Everybody was on the same page. Got Cat back. OG was still out. Can't use that excuse if we would have lost because OG was out anyway. But the Knicks played tremendous team basketball yesterday. Everybody appeared to be on the same page, and the shots were falling. The Celtics shots were not falling, which also always helps. That when they shoot 7 for 41 from 3, it makes them a lot easier to beat, especially because the Celtic offense is so predicated on the three-point shot that if you stop that, most time, 8 out of 10 times, you're beating the Celtics, and you're probably beating them pretty easily if you stop their three-point shot, which is for most teams in the NBA now, but the Celtics more so than others who have lived and died by that three-point shot ever since Joe Mazzulla became the head coach of that team. And as we saw in the playoffs last year, when the Celtics don't shoot the three, the Knicks won those games, and they were able to make those big comebacks in games 1 and 2, and then close them out in game 6 when they just couldn't hit anything, and the Knicks just blew them out at the Garden. What a great time that was, by the way. It was one of the best nights ever for a sport as a New York Knicks fan. But a couple of guys I want to shout out from yesterday's game, starting with the rookie Mohamed Diwara. This just goes back to me, and I don't care how much I talk about Tom Thibodeau because I screamed for him to be fired, and I was met with a lot of negativity from Knicks fans who were. There was a lot of you guys that did agree, but there was also a lot of people that said, no, don't change anything. We're right there. I never thought Tom Thibodeau could get us to the next level, and it was because of reasonings like this. I'm not saying Mohamed Diwara is the guy that's going to take us to the NBA Finals. I'm just saying we're speeding up the process, the development process for a kid like Mohamed Diwara. We're speeding it up because we're giving him in-game playing time, and not just in-game playing time. We're giving him important minutes, man, important starts. This is not against the Pelicans. He balled out yesterday against the Boston Celtics in Boston. The kid is 20 years old, and he played stout defense, rotated perfectly throughout the game. I kept my eye on him when he's in the game, rotating perfectly, making every right decision he could possibly make, hitting that open three. And if he could master that three-point shot, Diwara, throughout his career, he will be an all-star year after year after year. He's 20 years old. He's got a lot to work on, but if he can master that jump shot and become like a 38, 39% three-point shooter, get it down low, develop a post game, he is far from a finished product. That's why this kid is so talented, so special, so intriguing, because you see he's got all the tools to be an all-star in this league for years to come. So shout out to Leon Rose for finding him in the second round. Shout out to Mike Brown. Goes back to my Tom Thibodeau point, which was if Mohamed Diwara is on this team this year, we're not watching him play at all. That's why this shit is so important, and it had to happen that we had to have a brand new coach in here to bring in the new system and have the bench go deeper and deeper and deeper. And what you love, like, let me get to Mike Brown too. What I love about Mike Brown and the way that he coaches is that he's not locked into a rotation for 7 months. He will base his rotations off of who's hot. He'll stick with guys at the end of games based on how they're playing. He's not afraid to bench guys if they're underperforming. We've seen it with Cat. We've seen it with Mikal. You're never going to see it with Jalen Brunson because most of the times he's not underperforming. We saw it with Hart early on in the year. We saw it with a lot of these different guys. We're seeing it with Jordan Clarkson now. We saw it with Tyler Kolek. He's not afraid to switch up his rotations based on how the Knicks are performing and how the Knicks are performing when they play together. So that's what I love about Brown. Does not sticking guys for 39 minutes a game, gives guys the necessary breaks that they need so everybody's fresh and ready to rock when that fourth quarter starts or whenever they come in the fourth quarter. And you saw yesterday with the Celtics, man. The Knicks just had everything rocking on point from opening tip. Jalen Brunson with 15 early first quarter points that got the Knicks started, which was tremendous. You had Jose Alvarado, and I want to get to Jose Alvarado now. You had this kid come in. You saw the pregame video with him and Jalen Brunson. Alvarado asking the captain, he's like, yo, what do you want me to do? How do you want to play this? Where do you like the ball when you're on the court? And Brunson just tells him, yo, just play. Just play your game. That's why we brought you here. And this is exactly why we brought Jose Alvarado here. You saw that he could shoot the three. He's 35%, 36, 37% three-point shooter. He can knock down the three. He can get hot at any time. But you saw the defense, the in-your-face, in-your-grill defense that you see from those guys. When you're at, like, Rucker Park and you see these guys, 55 years old, these in-shape guys that are just rocking right in your face with that annoying defense. And you're like, damn, calm down. We're just playing a street game. No. Alvarado plays just like these guys exactly because he's Brooklyn-born, meant to play at Madison Square Garden. That's the type of guy in your face. And you saw him yesterday. There was a chance where Alvarado could have switched up and left Jaylen Brown, and he said, no, I'm sticking with Jaylen Brown. I'm fighting over this. I'm not leaving Jaylen Brown. And you saw the defense that he's going to bring. You saw the steals already, causing 4 points on 2 turnovers with the steals that he caused one on Jaylen Brown, and he caused a strip, and then he caused the offensive foul with Brown because he was up in his face. I mean, it was just... That's just a small sample size of what Jose Alvarado is going to bring to this team. Wait till he gets to MSG. The crowd is going to be rocking when he gets there. That first steal and fast break three or fast break layup that Alvarado has or kicks it out for an open three to someone else, the crowd is going to go nuts because the Garden eats up guys like Jose Alvarado. They love that type of player, man. In your face, grind it out, defense first. I'm putting my teammates first. I love this city type of guy, and he leaves it all on the court. But what we got yesterday was tremendous from the Knicks, okay? I love the fact, like I said before, I love the fact that they went to Boston after playing Detroit. I did not want a cakewalk game after Detroit. I wanted a good team, and the schedule makers somehow made it to the point where the Boston Celtics were coming right after the Detroit Pistons. After losing that 38-point game, this does take a little bit of sting away from that Detroit Piston game because the Knicks played from tip-off to the final buzzer, one of their best games of the season, especially on the road. You love to see that. Got to see the Knicks get better on the road. And they're a veteran team. They'll be perfectly fine on the road. But you got to see, I see Cat continuing to play the way he's playing. Mikal coming out early. I'd like to see that go throughout the game sometimes, where Mikal comes out early and he has 7-8 points in the first quarter, and then you find out he finishes the game with like 12. And because I want to see that Mikal aggression, because we're going to need him down the stretch. We're going to need him in the postseason to be that defensive juggernaut, to be the guy that just gets us big buckets down the stretch, that mid-range game that he's so good at. Cat, I can't say enough about Cat. Doing his thing in his new role. Stick with it. That's all I could say. Stick with it, because I'll finish the video with this, and this is one of my biggest critiques about Karl-Anthony Towns. And when you watch him play angry, and when you watch him play like he just wants to run somebody over in the post, he's borderline unstoppable. And it frustrates me to no end when I don't get that version of Karl-Anthony Towns every single night. And we've seen it more now over the last couple of weeks. And I still need to see it throughout the rest of the season and into the postseason. But this is a guy who's stupid talented, as one of the best big men talented players I've ever watched. So it frustrates me when he does not play just with that anger and that aggression. You saw it yesterday. He was getting hacked. And there is no team in the NBA more than there's no player more in the NBA than Karl-Anthony Towns that does not get the necessary whistle that he deserves. So, and I get it. You got to play through it. But get angry. Get angry, Cat. Get angry. Body these guys down low and score like we saw yesterday, like we saw in that Detroit series last year, like we saw in the Indiana Game 3 last year. Make that shit happen and get yourself down low. Get those easy buckets. You'll eventually get the fouls. One thing that Knicks fans are going to have to come to grips with at this point, because it's been the national media over the last few years. The Knicks won't get the necessary credit from the national media like any other team does, right? Like, I've been outspoken on how I feel. I still think the Knicks are the best team in the East. I still think Detroit is their number one threat to get to the NBA Finals. If you're sleeping on Detroit, you got serious coping issues, because that is a hell of a team down there. So Detroit's going to be in the way of the Knicks to get to the finals. You have to take them serious. And it's not too early. We're almost at the All-Star break. But the national media will never give the Knicks credit. It's up to Knicks fans to give the Knicks credit, but you also have to be realistic. You cannot just overinflate the fact that the New York Knicks are defeating the Boston Celtics and then not take what they did against the Pistons serious, right? So, like, that's where I want Knicks fans to kind of meet me in the middle, and I'll meet you guys in the middle with my criticisms of the team, because sometimes I come out as a little bit more negative. I look at it more as I'm looking deeper into just wins and losses, and I can meet you guys in the middle if you'll meet me in the middle when I'll say, like, losing to Detroit by 30 and then losing to Detroit by 38. I don't want to hear who was in or out of the game. That just can't be ignored. And then when we go out and we bust the Boston Celtics ass by like 20 plus yesterday, we can't overinflate that like it means much more. That's where we got to meet in the middle. That's what I'm kind of saying with Knicks fans right now. We're really pounding our chest when we go into Boston. We bust that ass. 111-89, balled out. No OG Anunoby, right? We went in there, we busted their ass. We're the best. And then when we lose to Detroit, we say, nah, it's the regular season. It's just the regular season, guys. Let's not worry about that. We'll put that on the back burner for now because these games don't count. That's where we got to come out, like yesterday with Boston, this past weekend with Detroit. We got to meet in the middle, guys. That's all I'm asking as Knicks fans. We're going to be just fine. All right, we're going to get on the same page. If you guys got this far in the video, please like, share, subscribe. More New York Knicks content to come as we are going into the All-Star break. Thank you guys for watching.